All right. Um, let's say we'll just talk about a company. They have a business process. They have very. It's not a standard sales process. What happens is that company sells insurance, health insurance, actually. So what they do is they call the business people meet you and they said that we have applicants who apply for insurance. Then they fill out insurance application. They submit it to us. We look at the application. Well, the application first goes to the agent. Then agent then routes it to the underwriter. You know what is an underwriter? The underwriter looks at the application, typically checks certain attributes like age, this, blah blah blah. Then he says, okay, I will like to issue the insurance to these people. Or he might say, I would like to outright reject this application. Or he might say, I would like to ask him additional questions. So instead of he calling the applicant, what he does is he assigns that application to an outbound caller who specializes in just calling and asking questions. He gives him 20 questions to be asked. Actually, that's a standard list of questions. So he asks the caller, the underwriter asks the caller to ask those 20 questions and get the answers, and then fill in the application as an addendum, give it back to the underwriter. Underwriter again looks at it, then determines whether to reject it or accept it. Typically he might again, not typically he might simply accept it or reject it, but then again there could be another process of asking additional questions. He might go to the same iteration again with a different set of questions, of course, and then after the second iteration he always stops. Either he accepts the application or he rejects the application. Whenever he accepts, he might give a quote. Whenever he gets a quote, he gives it to another set of people. They are not callers for asking questions. They are different people. To agent. Agent gets the application as well as the quote back from the underwriter, gives it to the customer, and then customer might accept the quote or may not like the quote. If he doesn't like the quote, he will reject it. He'll say, okay, I don't think I can pay this much. Company, as part of the process, routes this application with an approval from underwriter with a disapproval on the quote to another set of people. I don't know what they should be called, but then it routes it to them, and then they decide. Then they change the code configuration, gives it back to the agent, give it back to the agent. Agent then talks to the customer again, explains him, how his code is different this time and what all benefits is he losing out on, and stuff like that. Then again, customer either accepts or rejects the code. Then there are no additional iterations. If he accepts it, he accepts it. If he doesn't, then there is no sale. Making sense? What are the different entities did you hear in this business process that I explained? Business entities. This exercise will allow you to listen to a business process, come up with the business entities, map it to civil entities at a high level. We will not go into the granular details, but we'll just at a high level extract the business entities out of it and map it to the business civil entities. Can you tell me what are the different entities? You should think also is, you should first go through the entire process. Not first go to the entire process, go through the first step of the process. Think of the entity in it, go to the next part of the process, think of the entities in it, go to the third part, go to the fourth, fifth, so 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So go to each and every part and extract the entity right there. And then this is how you talk about this thing. This is the way you analyze this kind of a situation. So the way to analyze this thing is, you go step by step. So the first step is the person contacts the insurance agent. So there are two business entities here. One is person, the other one is insurance agent. What is the next step, Shanti? This is the first step, and you're recognizing that the various entities that you're recognizing are कौन सी? What is the next step?
Applicant request for insurance agent receives the application.
Applicant
Request for insurance.
Okay, so what is the next step here? So what are the various entities here?
Applicant agent and request.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Applicant or? Okay. What entities do you see here? Do you see any other business entity here other than application and request? Applicant and request? Mm-hmm.
Policy.
No idea.
Yep. And just to make the things easy, I'm going to call it application. Applies or applicant fills out an application for insurance. Okay, so I see applicant, application and insurance. Okay, what is the next thing? What is the next step? Agent receives the application, then
Sends it to the agent.
forwards it to the underwriter, right? Okay, what are the different entities here? What are the different entities here? Mm-hmm.
Agent, application and underwriting.
Do you agree with this thing? What about this receive? Do you think that is an entity too? That's not a business entity. Okay. What is the next step? Singh sahab, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸੋਗੇ?
And underwriter, you can say he verifies it and then
Mm-hmm.
then send it back to the agent with questionnaire. With the questionnaire. So you send it with
Not
the
accepted, sends the question.
Sends it to the with a questionnaire.
There should be decision.
Okay. Is that what you're trying to say? Send it to the agent with code. Agent forwards it to the customer. Customer accepts it. If customer accepts it, it's well and good. If it doesn't, then I think there is a process to send it to another department.
सिनेमा चल रहा है या फिर
What is the next step, Nitin?
I don't know.
That is not the step, Nitin. Nitin, that is not the step.
There can be third case in that except, or
Mm-hmm.
in case there's a chances that there's one thing is accepted, that is accepted, the other thing is doesn't accept it. He rejected right away. If he rejected right away, he won't send the questionnaire after.
That's right.
So in this, we can have another box. Decision box here before. After accept application. No, we can have a
Right. So rejected completely, right? That's what he said, right? So if it is no, and then we have to evaluate if it is the rejected completely. If it is no, then we go here. If it is yes, then it goes to the stop, right?
yeah. Then
Goes to agent.
What is that accept, rescind, rejection?
accept together. One word.
If you are not rejecting it, then it's almost like accepting it, right? Then why do you need a decision box again after it? Or a rejection box and then saying no to it?
Yes. What he's trying to say.
And if the customer doesn't accept it, so it will.
Just accept.
So this should be after the first option. He evaluates it and send it back to the agent if accepted. Oh, he said it's a change that the wording has to be changed now because before I did not have the decision box, right?
Yeah.
Because after rejecting again, why do you want to give it no?
So he evaluates it, huh?
Accept it, yeah.
Underwriter
Oh, he
evaluates
forwards it to the. I think this whole scenario has been taken care of, right?
Yes.
He forwards to the outbound caller. If it has been rejected completely, if it has not been rejected completely, then he gives it to then UW. UW forwards the outbound caller with the questionnaire if rejected तो case है ये. Sounds good? Is that what you're trying to say?
The whole, I guess after rejected, I don't think there's point in like putting another process box. You can just, after the accept itself, this box should be there. If you're accepting
Actually,
it,
if they're accepting, that means like then they just start giving him a quote and all that. Then the whole quote process starts. But if they don't accept, then there are two types of acceptances, rejections. One is they give him a chance, that is there is a outbound call to him. Other one is it just goes to the agent and agent simply intimates to the customer. Making sense? I mean, does it make sense?
Yeah, and go to the customer accepted decision box.
Okay.
This is the case if the customer doesn't accept it. And it will obtain a new code. If the customer doesn't accept it, then it goes to obtain a new code.
Okay.
If the customer accepts it,
Then the order is placed.
yes.
Do you think that I should write yes no here to make the things clear? This is yes. This is no. Right? Agent sends it to another department, right? And obtain a new quote. And
and again it goes back to the customer.
is it okay? Agent forwards it to customer. Customer accepts the quote. Order is placed. No.
Yeah, it's a
Agents-
repeat.
Right? Repeat. How many times will it repeat?
Whatever is the rule.
I think I said just once, right?
Yeah.
So it will be given one more code, right? So we'll put a decision box here.
Then you have to take 2 more boxes here to find.
So I should basically move these boxes here and put this one here, right? If it is a second quote, then you either close it if it is second quote and he doesn't accept it.
Yeah.
But Gaurav is in the third quote.
If it is less than the third quote, then we send it to the agent and all that. It goes through the process of quoting again. Otherwise, it just stops. Right? That's what we all determine, right?
Right.
Right? Right? So this is in case of yes. Right? This is a business process diagram.
One here, we come back to here with the question. You have to complete that.
We are able to complete that. Just want to make sure this arm looks good. Does it look good? Agent tells the customer
But in that case also the customer still can come back.
then that's a good point, but that's a very good point. Actually, this is the thing, process. It tends to become like if you try to get an end-to-end process, you'll see it will become very big. So it becomes a big science where to stop. And if you are implementing, let's say, application management module, then he can fill out other applications too. So maybe we can say somewhere that that application, if the applicant comes back again, that's a fresh start of the whole process. Sounds like a good plan. If the applicant come after all this rejection, if he comes back again, right, then either we either we take out the historic code. Let's say it comes out within 15 days, then we take out the historic code history and say, okay, this is what you need to accept. If it comes out after 20 years, this same codes don't hold true. So we need to get the whole circle again.
Right.
So there must be a rule. So that's a good point. This is how you keep doing the process, right? So I just want to keep the same process that I originally said, but then that's a good point. This is all important actually. This is how you basically grill the user. So I want to make sure that we focus on getting the entities out of it. We are not there yet. So I want to just complete the diagram, then go to the entity part. You guys are noticing that how I'm trying to beautify it, make it look a little better. Hai na?
Yeah, this is the flowchart and everything. But that's what I understand. I'm trying to grasp everything, but I'm seeing you will go away.
That's fine. That's fine. It's not a big deal. I mean, I don't expect you to be able to awake all of a sudden for 15 hours a day. That's fine. So, but we typically follow. No, UW forwards. I want to make sure because there are a lot of entities here. I want to make sure those entities are captured here properly. So this UW forwards it to the outbound caller. Then what happens?
He forwarded to the okay.
Calls the customer according to the script that he has, right?
Yeah.
Then questionnaire that he has.
And then give the feedback to.
Give the answers and the customer details to UW.
But it is
UW evaluates and
Passes it on to.
comes out with initial code and passes it to agent, right?
But there's an agent also between them. That UW give this questionnaire to the
Yeah.
agent. It comes to agent.
Agent gives it to the customer, then this whole customer cycle starts. Just a minute. Right?
No.
Agent forwards it to the customer,
No.
and then customer accepts it.
No.
Yeah.
Underwriter forward to the outbound caller with questionnaire. Underwriter it forwarded to the agent only, no? Underwriter here, the field itself, underwriter forwarded to the that agent with the questionnaire, and the agent again give it to the
outbound caller. Questionnaire किसको देगा?
underwriter will give it to the agent.
Okay, then the agent will have to give it to the outbound caller.
To the customer or whatever, whoever is calling.
No, it is the rep who is calling the customer, right? It's not agent directly giving it to the customer. The questionnaire.
The customer is, there's an interaction between the agent and the customer only.
But when it comes to the questionnaire part,
Yeah, the questionnaire,
is agent directly giving it to the customer, agent giving it to a rep who makes a call to the customer?
underwriter is giving to the agent, agent is giving it to the customer.
I will not beautify it. I'll just try to make sure that we jump to the conclusion. But at the same point, what the way I beautified this area, just trying to keep it as a role model. But then this whole coding process could go like from top to bottom in another row here, in another column here, and this whole process could feed into that process. Whenever the time goes, it could be in the column or it could be in the row too. Anyway, so you see the entries accepts. So this accept thing, what do you see this as? An entity or something else? I see that as a status field on the application or on the applicant.
It's an application.
Why?
Because it is they are processing a particular
Application by the applicant.
yeah.
And that applicant could have 2-3 applications also over a period of few years.
Yeah.
Right? In that case, application is rejected, not the applicant.
Yeah.
He can always come back again and fill out a new application. All right. So rejected. So send it to the agent with. Oh, I'm so sorry. So okay, quote is a quote an entity here?
Yeah.
Agent is an entity here. Send is an entity.
No.
It's an operation. It's a
It's
process.
just a process.
It's basically assignment, right? You put this thing and it will start showing in his mind. Okay. Agent forwards it to the customer. Agent and customer, and forwards it, the application, right? Customer accepts the code. The code and the customer.
Yeah.
Order is placed. Order is another entity which has come. Is placing an order is also, right? But line item is another entity which is not mentioned here because that product will be as a line item here. So we need to understand that part. Agent tells the customer that order is placed, and then after that it is stock.
Line item in the sense it's a product.
Yeah, that's a product. That's right. Then we come here. UW forwards it to outbound caller with a questionnaire. So UW is an entity. Underwriter is an entity.
Yep.
Okay. Outbound caller is an entity.
No, he is the employee.
But is it an entity? Is it a business entity? It's a business entity which you will map to the employee. I think UW, all these guys will eventually map to employee. That's a different story, right?
Yeah.
Okay. With the questionnaire, do you think any other entity? Do you see any other entity here?
Active.
It's a literature or smart script.
It's a smart script.
Yeah.
Yes. Activity. Do you see an activity here?
I thought it would be like, the underwriter's activity to send the question.
Let's see the activity happening. There's a good chance activity might be there, but we'll see. It will come out of the functional analysis. At this point, I don't see an activity, but definitely down the line there will be an activity. Okay. Anyway, outbound caller calls the customer according to the script. Right? Is call an entity? Script is an entity? Outbound caller is an entity? Okay. Gives the answers and the customer details to UW. Customer gives the answers. Is answer an entity? Giving an entity? And the customer details. Details are an entity? UW is an entity? Customer details is the thing that we learn here, but details is a separate entity from customer, or is it the same entity as customer? So it's the same thing, right? So it's basically customer. Okay. What about the answer? Is that an entity?
Answer is linked to the customer.
Okay. Answer is an entity. It's a transactional detail. For every question, the answer will be different by different customers, or it will be same? so entity is a property of the customer? Is it a property of the customer? Will you give the same answer every time you call in? Can you give different answer?
Same
Can you
person
give an
will
example?
give same answer all the time.
Oh, really? Can you give
Same
a
person.
same person will always give the same answer? What's your age today?
I mean, after some years it will be.
Yeah.
Tomorrow it's different. Monday motion.
Yes. After 2 years, your answer will be different, right? So you'll be giving a different answer every time. It's kind of possible. Do you smoke? All right. Do you think the answer is going to remain same tomorrow?
Yeah.
It may change, right? 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 So answers can change, right? Answer can change after a day also. So even for the we took the example of applications over the years, but for the same application, if the rep calls him again, the answer might be different. So every time answer will be different. That answer has to be captured somewhere.
Yeah, it can be different next day also. If we ask, like, did you drink yesterday night? Yes.
Yeah. So it can be different every day, right? All right. Gives so that is a very important entity. We'll introduce some more entities. We know that UW evaluates. Is evaluation an entity? Do you think he'll be evaluating the report every time in a different manner?
Yes, because the
Same
answers will be different.
But that will be basically evaluation will be parts of the same. That means for every application, there could be multiple evaluations.
And there will be only one evaluation.
But if there are different set of answers for one application today and different set of answers tomorrow, then can we have different evaluations?
Evaluation will be one.
Per what? Per person? Per family?
For the answers, the application.
Per set of
received.
answers for every application.
Yeah.
So for one application, if there can be 2 sets of answers, there can be 2 evaluations too. Is that what you're trying to say? Okay. Even I'm with you. So far it looks like that. Evaluation report will be probably for every set of answers, there will be one evaluation report. Right? And comes out with initial code. What about the code? Do you think that's an entity? It passes it to the agent. Is passing an entity? No, right? Doesn't seem like an entity, right? Agent. So okay. So we see so many entities here. And then agent forwards it to the customer accepts the code requests, third code request. Do you think first and second and third code request, they are 3 different entities or they are one entity? Same entity? Or they are different? They are 3 different entities.
One code is not
Okay. We now recognize many entities. Okay? Let's map those entities quickly. Applicant, what entity should this be? Contact, sounds like a good match. Agent. Okay, first underwriter and underwriter, what do you think? That should be an employee? What about agent?
And
What about agent?
It looks like he is an external person. He doesn't belong to the
Company, so he should be contact.
Professional.
profession is a contact. Yeah.
By the way, professional is contact, same thing. Oh, just because you guys saw the licenses application, that's the only reason.
Contact is profession.
Depends on the working on
Team is a group of employees, so yeah, team is not an entity in civil.
The contact, it comes in this party.
No, he's a contact. He will be a contact actually. But that's where as you can clearly see, there is a thin line. You don't know whether it should be contact or an employee. We'll see down the line. This particular person, let's say, keep it as a gray area with more towards external person, because he's nevertheless an external person, right? He's an agent from a company called as ABC Insurance Agents, right? Anyway, fills out an application for insurance. What is an application? That's my question.
opportunity.
Shanti, what is an application? Yeah, there is no entity called as request in SQL, so we have to just map it to SQL entities.
Order opportunity. Order.
What do you think, Jason?
It's an order.
नितिन ये आप क्या सोचते हैं? It should not be a service request. Let me tell you why. I know you already said that it's opportunity, but I just want to differentiate. I got 2-3 ideas. See, applicant makes a request. So whenever you hear a request, don't think service request. Service request is a post-sales thing. It happens after sales thing. It happens after sale is made when a customer has a complaint about something. In this case, he's making a request to buy something. I want to buy something. It's a request. But that was a good confusing thing, because both are transaction entities. I mean, if you compare this thing to something like a contact or something, that's a problem. But if you compare it to service request, both are transactions. And you know what? I won't get, this is what I evaluated with opportunity and service request. Why? Although I'm very clear that's a pre-sales, right? Post-sales thing. There's a reason. There is a reason. There's a reason why I evaluated it with service request. That's a little bit more, like, we don't need to go in that, because we are not trying to reach the answer. We're trying to develop a thought process. And I want you guys to develop at least some basic thought process. Not be able to reach all the answers in one day. Okay? So from a thought process standpoint, service request is the closest match, is the closest candidate after opportunity. We ended up going with opportunity. There's another closest match that nobody has said so far. I would like you to identify all the possible matches. Can someone do a good job? Let's begin. Activities. Activity is also a closest match. So you can evaluate activity also. But activity is rejected outright. You know why?
It is not associated with anything.
Yeah. Typically, activity is rejected because if there is a further activity to pursue this, like let's meet the customer, let's call him, like whenever there is a call, right, it can go to the voicemail, so he'll put a follow-up activity. In that case, there will be an activity for an activity. Activity to activity relationship is not possible and is not recommended in civil as a best practice. So they said whenever you have, whether you're going to have a follow-up activity, you keep the thing that the people are following as something else, not as an activity. So that the most granular entity is always activity, not a sub-activity. Making sense? So that is one of the civil best practices for you guys, business analysts, that granular most entity should be activity, not a sub-activity. So that means whenever there is going to be an activity for some things, there are going to be multiple activities. We have to make that something as something above activity, service request or an opportunity or an account or a contact, but not activity. As we know that there will be multiple activities going forward on this particular entity, business entity, so we should not be creating an activity for this. But that is a good match that we evaluated. So service request is rejected because of just the simple reason that it's a post-sales thing. But there are many reasons because of which it should be kept. Okay. Actually, this service request, okay, why it should be service request? Let me give you then some reason, because otherwise, she will think, she just came out with weird answers. Right? Okay. Service request goes around. Service request goes around. and is the responsibility of one particular person out of the whole team at a given point. For example, when it is assigned to underwriter, you think outbound caller should do something? No. When it is assigned to agent, do you think underwriter should look at it? Service request changes state. It goes to someone. It becomes his. He does something, only then next person has to do something. It has this kind of dynamic. This particular entity has this kind of dynamic around it. Do you agree? So it looks like a service request. Right? Right? Opportunity is not like that. Opportunity is pursued by all the people. They have different activities planned for that activity, for that opportunity, together or sometimes separately. But opportunity changes state. But at a given point of time, there is a state of that opportunity and it is not related to a person. Like in case of underwriter, like in this case, underwriter will, look at the service request. Remember, like it belongs to tier 1 rep, then it is his. When he closes it or rejects it, escalates it to a tier 2, it becomes a tier 2 rep's responsibility and he has to resolve it, not the other reps. Making sense? Same way, this application works. It is a responsibility underwriter to work on it. Assign it to an outbound caller. So there is a thing that is assigned, physically assigned to other people. Opportunity is assigned to 5-6 people at a time and they are all doing the activities together. You see? So because of this dynamic, service request is a very good match. Right? But then, service request does not generate revenue. This particular thing is going to culminate into a sale. It's going to generate revenue. Making sense? It's a potential order at the end of the day. So, it has to be an opportunity with some flavor of service request. Right? It will be hard to implement just because of that flavor. It will be hard to implement because opportunity out of the box, I think it does not support state models that easily. These are called as state models. At some point of time, it's only responsibility of someone, and underwriter is the only one who can basically change it from accept to reject, right? Yeah, agent hi kar sakta hai. Agent cannot do all this, right? Decision making with the underwriter. So this thing of opportunity can be configured, but then that is what we will do basically. We'll make it an opportunity and then we'll configure these things into the system. But that is the thing I wanted to hear. Application. Then we come to underwriter. We know that underwriter is an employee of type underwriter. Right? Look, I'm going to tell you something. See, remember these privileges are now determined by the type of the employee. Making sense? Position and responsibility have nothing to do with it, although it does determine access, right? So position will determine only the data access. So that data will be visible to underwriter as well as to agent. So that means in this team, this is opportunity sales, both will appear and the both will be able to see it in their my opportunities, this thing. My opportunity is this thing, but you will relay into my applications or whatever, right? Right? So it will appear here and you will rename it to my applications, right? But look, access privileges are either to the agent or to the underwriter at a given point of time. And this access, position-based access is over. He already got it. He already got to see the record. Responsibility-based access is over because he has a my opportunity view too. Both have my opportunity view. They both can see the stuff. But then this is the third kind of privilege, which you should know, which will be implemented by maintaining a flag here, maintaining a field here, somewhere here at employee level. You will make a custom field called as underwriter or not. And by the way, same for contacts. You will make a custom flag, agent or not. And if there are 3-4 types like agents, then you can make a drop down also. Or in the same case, in case of employees also, if there are different kinds of employees, underwriter, outbound caller, are two different kinds of employees are right. So you can make a drop down also, right? So that will define their rights to access that to edit that data. Making sense? So funda hai na ki anyway,
kind of deliverables, right?
it will this is one deliverable business process document. This is what it's called as.
This is kind of project kind of.
This is a kind of a dummy case study project. Yeah, dummy project aega. This is the current process. We call it current process. You will make a to be process. Okay. Anyway, so then sends it to the agent with code. Okay. EW forwards it to the outbound caller with the questionnaire. So do you see another entity here? Questionnaire. Questionnaire is an entity. Answer is also an entity. We already talked about it. Where were we?
Evaluation.
Evaluation is an entity. Actually, evaluation probably can be an entity or not. Let's see all that. So, कहाँ पे थे? Okay. So we first come out with the business entities, then we start mapping it onto C-level entities. Like for example, underwriter and all these guys, underwriter, outbound callers, they will all be employees with a flag, with a difference. I was explaining that it should be not opportunity because of the state model and all that stuff. It should be opportunity then because of the fact that it's a pre-sales transaction, right? So blah blah blah, and then we realized that okay, it should be an opportunity. And that's what we ended up implementing. And we did a little bit of customization just to impart that state model thing there, you know. Okay, so accepts, rejected, these are statuses. Okay, send it to the agent with quote. There is a quote, that's another entity. That will be separate entity or that will be same as the opportunity? Separate entity. Is there a one-to-many relationship or there is a one-to-one relationship in this case?
One is the one.
Between opportunity and code. Between application and code, will there be a one-to-many relationship? It is one-to-many, right? Because there can be two or more codes also, right? So agent forwards it to the customer. Customer is again the same thing. All right. So we have done some kind of entity mapping, okay? And we need to get into the granularity of each and every piece and come out with a business requirement. So, for example, for this one, system should allow, like whether we want to do it manually or not. Applicant goes to the insurance agent. Can applicant go to the website of the insurance agent, or will he actually go to the insurance agent? Okay, we want to we want to just get it done manually. He will still go to the insurance agent. Anyway, applicant fills out an application for insurance. Will he fill out an application on the paper or in the system? Or will he ask the agent to fill out the application? These are the details that we need from a business requirement standpoint. Okay, so he'll say, okay, applicant will narrate the information and agent will fill out the information in the system, not in the form now, because we are eliminating paper. Agent receives the application. Now there is no receiving the application. Agent is filling out the application, it is in. But receiving the application would mean that he should be able to look at the application too. That means he should have a My Applications view. That definitely it means. Agent forwards it to the underwriter. What it means is, agent will go to the opportunity, fill out all this information, whatever is there, will provide him a separate form, detail form, opportunity detail form. When he drills down on it, there will be another view which will be having opportunity details, and that view will be having a lot of data in it, in which he will fill out everything. Then he will change the status to opportunity, then he'll submit the application. Now, just as he submits, it becomes read only for him, it goes to the underwriter. Right? Then there will be subtle points of this whole thing. Can he change the application within 24 hours? Can he change the application details within 10 minutes? Can he change it within 5 minutes? Can he do this thing? Can he do this thing before underwriter picks it up?
When does the underwriter pick up an application?
He can pick it up whenever he becomes free. When does he become pick it up? Does he pick up instantly? If he doesn't pick up instantly, how soon is there any pinging mechanism? Do you need any ping mechanism? Like we'll create an activity and assign it to the underwriter. Mr. Underwriter, please wake up and look at this application. Can we do that? Is there any escalation procedure you want? Like you want like a VP of the underwriter's manager to be notified if underwriter is not looking at the application for a long time? All these things you will capture as detailed business requirements. Making sense? I have pretty much mixed the business requirement and functional requirements. Don't worry about it. Just gather the requirements like this. Make sure you capture each and every detailed thing that you need. Like, then comes a design. How will this form look like? You already have decided as part of the requirement what will be the fields that the agent will fill out. But then how will that layout look like? What will be the tab order? How much would be the width? Look and feel. There will be 4 columns, right? Whether it will be a check mark, whether it will be a drop down. All those things will be whether it will be an LOV, if there will be an LOV, what will be the drop down values, so on and so forth. All these things will be in the form of the design, and you'll be having a detailed design session. But before that, we are still talking about the requirements. For every step, there will be a lot of requirements. Agent forwards it to the underwriter. Right? We already talked about it, right? Escalation procedure and so on and so forth. So you'll be asking a lot of questions here. Then at the same time, obviously underwriter needs to have the my view, my applications view. That's where he will see. Right? Accepts. He accepts it, then does it evaporate from there? Or will he keep seeing it there?
Or will it
All
change?
these questions. It might mean they might want that he should only see the things that are pending. So you know what you can do? You can implement it like, right? Like all the opportunities that he has will keep showing here, but then he can always execute like my pending requests using PDQ. Give him a say PDQ, and he will be able to. The agent should be able to. The UW should be able to access all the things. It is possible. Okay. Or what you can do is you can give him the access to my opportunity view and make this instead of all opportunity, make my pending PDQs, my pending this thing as a default query. Then he will see always only the queries that are the applications that are pending. That is possible. Okay. So his view, he comes to this thing and he sees only the pending applications. If he wants to refresh, he can just execute a blank query. If underwriter wants to see only the pending ones, again he can come back here. Whenever he leaves the screen and comes back to this view, this query will get automatically executed and he will see only the pending applications. So these are all very important details that you can gather as part of your requirement gathering. Then accept, sends it to the agent with code. Sorry, UW forward accepts this. This code we can make the functionality like this. Code should be allowed to be created by a rep or an agent only after it has been approved by UW. That's when the coding starts, right? Right? This is possible. Of course, order cannot be created too before an underwriter approves it. And that field should be controlled only by the underwriter. Nobody else can change that. Right? Making sense? So your common sense will allow you to close the loops. Trust me. Right? Your common sense will allow you to close the loops, and you can clearly see if underwriter does not act, then will the customer keep on waiting for 10 years for his insurance? So there should be a way to close the loop, and that process will already be there in that company because they have been doing this for a long time. So you're not going to engineer anything. You just ask them their rules. They'll tell you the rules. They will have these rules, and then you'll ask them whether you want them to be, whether they want those rules to be put in the system or not. Okay. So questionnaire, UW forwards it to the outbound caller with a questionnaire. So these questions could be a smart script or it could be an applet. Just in an applet, if there are just 5 questions, I can provide them here. Right? If there is a branch in the questions, only then there is an issue, right? If it is simple 5 questions, do you smoke, do you drink, do you have kids, are you married, blah blah blah, 5 questions, I can simply ask them using an applet. Smart script is difficult to implement, right? So that's quite possible, right? But then there is a requirement. Let's say there is a visibility requirement. UW forwards it to the outbound caller with a questionnaire. Let's say he has 3 sets of questionnaires for different scenarios. Then you will have to implement a dynamic toggle. If you want to go without smart script, if you want to go with smart script, it's quite easy. But then that's a little bit difficult also, right? If you want to go with this thing, then you have to go with a dynamic toggle. Make sense?
Yeah.
So depending upon something, depending upon some field value here at this level, the applet below will change and have different questions and have different fields. Making sense? So these are different ideas that come to your mind. Okay, let's come here. Right? But then let's say there can be multiple answers for that same application. So you can ask them, can you do away with it? Because then that would mean that you cannot fill it at the application level. That would mean that you have to have a sub entry for application. If there can be multiple set of answers for every application, then you cannot have these fields on the application level. You have to have it as a child thing, right? Now answers can be an entity in itself. If it's a smart script, then answers is an entity. But then if it is not a smart script, then what? Then you have to have it as an activity, right? That activity will be having all those 5 fields, and the toggle bit will be between the activity now, the upper opportunity as well as the child activity, right? So there are many ideas, I mean, and all these solutions, you take it activity or you take smart script, they are having different cost, different. This is a different solution approach, and obviously there are different gaps and different LOEs, level of efforts. Agree? So you will be doing all this analysis. Once you come out with a functional requirement, set of functional requirements, as well as a solution approach, as well as a gap analysis, the next step will be design. Okay. You will show them all the applets, and the design would really consist of this same design. I think I showed you a sample design, right? So you can make similar design, or you can make less effective design also, but it should look like that. It should give us some feeling of the layout. Like, for example, people, what they do is they make it in a Visio diagram, very basic Visio diagram with simple boxes, like 8 or 9 boxes. That's it. I can quickly make that kind of a diagram here, like the kind of diagram I am talking. This is an applet. This is one field. This is second field. This is third field. Like this they make. Right? They change the color and they make it smaller, make it bigger, look like just a little bit. But then that's what the idea is. Other thing is, of course, they have to put the label also. So they like this will be the label, and this will be the field value. Field. They put it like this, and it works quite fine. What they do is to give it a look and feel. They just eliminate the border for this thing. Whatever you fill it in this thing, it will look like just a, right? Right? So they do that. That's acceptable thing. Obviously, that looks, those kind of visual diagrams that I showed you, they look more professional. So we'll of course deliver that. Typical BS do just this thing. We'll be doing this, like we'll make proper visual diagrams of Seaborn. So order is placed. So all this are gonna get into a full project. You will realize that they'll assign you this one huge project, and you'll be just working on one business process for 6 months. First 2-3 weeks, 4-5 weeks, you'll be gathering requirements, having user sessions and gathering requirements and documenting them, coming out with gap analysis and all that. Then you'll be coming out with designs. At that point also you'll be very busy working with the users, finalizing your designs. Design sessions are very horrible. They are very irritating because people will just ask us small stupid things, like can you have this this field instead of this here? You're like, what difference does it make? That will be your thought, but then it makes a lot of difference to them, because they are spending $20 million for this. Right? So they will say, okay, why don't we just have the very best way of doing the things? So you'll be grilling on the process first, so that you understand the process. You try to, like this is the first thing, current process. You try to come up with the to-be process. What do they want to do in the future system? Sometimes the process will remain same. Sometimes the process would also change. They would like the process to be changed also. Especially coming of the system, advent of the system will bring about the changes too. So those definitely need to be reflected in your future process. But that's not the only thing. Then you need to get the business requirements. Sometimes you'll get those mixed up. Business requirements, functional requirements get mixed up. Don't worry. Main thing is requirements. You should be able to completely envision what they need. That is the thing. And this is Siebel world, not the general BA world. In general BA, you have to do so many things. That's kind of a little stupid from Siebel perspective. In Siebel world, you need to have a very good idea about what needs to be done. And it shouldn't be just idea. It should be actually written in the form of a document, in the form of certain concrete requirements. I see an Excel file in which everything is written in a single cell. You write one requirement. System should have the ability to do this thing, accept the application, and the agent should be able to fill out all these fields. Fields should be written very clearly there, right? Then functional requirement typically, or design typically means you know the each and every field length, how much what should be the length, everything should be written there. Making sense? All these details should be there properly. Making sense? So there are other documents that I have, other videos that I have in which certain documents are shown. It is clearly shown this is the function design document, and see this is how it is filled out and things like that. In Siebel world, we don't use any tools. We just use Microsoft Word, Office, Visio, Excel, and yeah. See, that's what I was saying. Siebel world is no drama world. Activity diagram. How can a user understand activity diagram? You tell me. ये तो business process diagram है. Activity diagram a little bit more like UML and all those a little bit more scientific in nature. But the only thing is, how can a user sign off on a process diagram if he doesn't understand it? And if we people from IT background have to take the training on UML, that means users can either learn the system, sales process, or UML. I don't think UML, I don't know why general BAs have this kind of training, they are taught UML and all that, but I emphasize more on business. And Siebel world, nobody asks for UML and all those things. There is a concept of use case in Siebel world. Out of 10 implementations I have worked at, 2 implementations were using use case also. Use case is a good way to model the system, and that is in English way. Like that is written in English. It is not scientific, like it is not like some diagrams which are scientific in nature and someone has to know the meaning of the nomenclature and all that. So UML diagram is a different ballgame, but use case is good. Actually, I'll teach you how to write a use case. It's very easy. Okay. Basically use case, typically I'll explain. There is a full FAQ on use case. How to write a use case. Like you should model the use case at the level like what are transactions everybody will be doing. For example, first transaction that I see is agent will fill out the application and assign it to someone and submit it. This is the first transaction. So this is one use case, right? I've explained it somewhere quite well actually. This is in English, right? Agent fills out an application, fills out these forms, clicks submit. Simple.
use case कहाँ पे create किया है?
कहाँ पे create किया मैंने?
In your application.
एप्लीकेशन में यूज केस नहीं क्रिएट होते. एप्लीकेशन के बारे में, जैसे एप्लीकेशन रोल करनी है उसके बारे में, ड्यूरिंग द रिक्वायरमेंट गैदरिंग फेज वी राइट द यूज केसेस in Microsoft Word.
You can even create it in an Excel.
Yeah, sure.
I have actually, if you want I can give it to you.
Sure. Siebel world is about common sense, especially related to B activity, because it's a lot more about analysis than about diagrams. Siebel diagrams have to make sense. Like this diagram, just you beautify it a little bit. From content perspective, this is complete in itself. But then just from beautify, it needs to be beautified a little bit, just a little bit. So that is the only thing left. Other than that, it is perfect. And but if I remember correctly, UML and all these things are a little bit more scientific in nature. And Siebel use cases are also, they are not like, they don't look at, this structure is a little different from the use cases written in the code of use cases in UML of RUP standards of IEEE 8.02111. All that stupid things don't happen here. We are about business. Siebel world is about business. Business means like they mean business. They want to do something proper. They want to do something. Not document everything so that someday someone can give them a certificate. So all these things don't exist in Siebel world. So that is why you will see that you need to understand business, which you already know a little bit, which is what we are working on, polishing your business skills, right? Polishing your business analysis skills. So all these things is what is important in the Siebel world. And as you can see, you will clearly understood this business process diagram, right? And you could easily see the loopholes in this one. So you could easily come up with more questions and fill out the gaps here, and then you can understand how to map it to Siebel and how to implement it. So it's gonna be a little bit. It's not gonna be just this. It's gonna be a little bit more to it. There's gonna be a little bit more to it. Okay.